Hey everybody, we're finally back to you. We've taken a couple of weeks off because of this little guy. His name's Duke. Can you see him, Kaylee? Mm-hmm. Okay, then I don't want to get near the oil. This is my brother Travis, and he is going to cook some sweet and sour pork. So I'm going to just kind of hand it over to him, and he'll tell you what he's doing first.
All right, so with sweet and sour pork, with most Asian dishes, traditionally you're going to use basically one pan for all the cooking process, besides the rice, which we'll get to in a little bit. But I went to Walmart and I grabbed some real cheap, these are the country style pork ribs. That's a really cheap cut of pork. It's super versatile if you ask me. We use it for a lot of stuff in our house, barbecue and other things. And basically I'm just gonna brown this in batches, so I don't wanna overcrowd the pan. And when I get done browning this on all four sides, we'll transfer it over to a baking sheet and throw it in the oven on 350 until it's cooked through an internal temperature of 145 degrees, which should be about 20 to 25 minutes for the size of this cut of meat. Okay, so I am trying to get a little bit of caramelization, some browning on all the meat. What that's going to do is it's going to lock in a lot of the moisture, and it's going to help us from drying out or making rubbery later whenever we go to transfer to a different type of cooking method. So with pretty much any meat you're cooking, you're going to want to get that Maillard reaction. And that is the reaction where when you apply meat to heat, you get that browning on it. That's just the sugars, the natural sugars inside the meat rising to the surface. And it's going to create a little bit of a nice crust. That's just going to help it lock in more moisture so we're not drying our meat out.
And then you're going to put it on the baking sheet.
Yeah, I'm just browning it in the pan, and I'm gonna put it on a baking sheet, and I'm gonna finish it in the oven.
Okay.
So it should have enough moisture in it to where it's going to finish in the oven, not dry out. It'll maintain a little bit of texture, and that way it just cuts down our cooking space, our cooking time.
Okay.
Can you hold up a piece and show them what the crust should look like?
It hasn't gone yet.
Yeah, there's a little bit.
It's got a little bit of browning going
Yeah.
on. Okay, so I've transferred the pork to the oven. It's going to sit at 350 for I'd say maybe 20, 25 minutes, give or take. You just got to meat thermometer it. Make sure you get the 145 degree temp. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to start our side. Like I said, from the beginning, we're all doing all of this in the same pot. So we're going to take maybe a quarter pound, 5-6 slices of bacon that are nice and fine diced. And we're going to throw this in the pan on low heat. So you're going to want to remove some of your oil and fat from making your caramelizing your pork. Not all of it, but a little bit, because you don't want it too greasy, because you're going to get a ton of fat out of this from reducing the bacon. And we're just going to reduce that up. And while that starts to get crisp and caramelizing, we'll start the sauce. So the first thing we're going to do with the sauce, you're
going to have to move over here, Travis, so we can see you.
Okay, no problem. I'll just grab each thing as I grab it. Okay, so the thing says I like to use the crushed pineapple because it gives a little bit more texture, a little bit more, just a little bit more texture to the sauce, makes it a little more interesting. So it says 2 cups of canned pineapple with juice. So you can use pineapple juice if you want. You get plenty of juice in that. So. 2 cups of canned pineapple, brown sugar. You can use light brown, dark brown, doesn't matter for the most part if I can get it out. All right, now that we've got the brown sugar out, sorry for technical difficulties, I'm just gonna rough pour this in. It doesn't have to be, I'm not baking. With baking, you want specific weight. So we're gonna call that fat chunk on top, not smashed down, we're gonna call that 1 cup. And we're gonna call it a half of another one. Is it a little bit over? Yes, maybe no. Gonna leave it out because at the end, when you start tweaking the sweetness levels, the acid levels, all of that, when you start getting into that, you're gonna want to make it yours. It doesn't have to be anything specific from any recipe. In the end, you want it to be the food you wanna eat. Where are we at here? Tablespoons, 6 tablespoons of ketchup.
Or 1/3 of a cup. It's almost 1/3.
That's how precise I measure, in case you were wondering. If you're a hyper attentive person and everything has to be down to the wire, never watch me cook. Also, I'm going to add, this is just me, I like bite in all of my food. I like a little bit of heat, nothing too much, because my wife can't handle it, but I'm gonna put in probably like 1 tablespoon of sriracha. And not only that, it's gonna add to the color because we want that nice, bright, vibrant red color with our sweet and sour sauce.
And sriracha is really good. It's actually...
Okay, 1/2 cup, and I like to add sweet chili sauce. It could be P.F. Chang's. There's also a Panda Express sweet chili sauce. It genuinely doesn't matter. The P.F. Chang's is a little bit cheaper, amazingly, than the Panda Express, which is not something you would expect because one is a nicer brand than the other. But in the long run, it really doesn't matter. Where are we at? Soy sauce. 4 tablespoons of soy sauce. All right, and then just over a 1/2 cup of vinegar. The vinegar, I buy rice wine vinegar all the time. It's super versatile. I use it when I marinate fried chicken. I use it in substitute for a lot of other vinegars because it's a little bit it's a milder vinegar. It doesn't blow your mind, but it does add that nice acidity. Which this is a new bottle I haven't opened.
No, it's really good. I use it. That's what I use the most of too. Well, in cooking, in my sauces, I use apple cider the most.
So this is this calls for just over 1/2 cup. So we're going to do 1/2 cup plus a bit. If you don't know what a bit is, figure it out on your own. I'm not here to teach you how to cook.
There you go. Yes, you are. He is here to teach us how to cook.
All right, so that should be good. I need I'm gonna whisk, and I'm just gonna whisk all of this together. All right, and with this, it's gonna be a little bit chunky, and I'm gonna do another step at the end here. It's gonna look chunky, and you may say this does not look like sweet and sour sauce. Who cares? It's gonna taste amazing. What it looks like really doesn't matter. You're not presenting it on a plate at a restaurant, so you can tell your children, your husband, your wife to just settle down and eat the food once it's cooked. But one thing
they put in red food coloring.
A lot of them do.
Yeah, so I mean, this
2
is
things
just
I'm going to add here. That's they're considered, especially in Asian cooking, they're considered aromatic, so they're going to add a lot of nose to it. By nose, I mean the scent. It's going to add a lot of smell. I'm going to do about this is an imprecise measurement of ginger. It's a big knob of ginger, and I'm just going to grade this probably about half, maybe 3/4 of the way down into my sauce. And that ginger, once you grade fresh ginger into things, it will change your life. It just opens up a completely new scent profile, flavor profile, stuff you're not used to. And you really can't substitute dried ginger for fresh grated ginger. It's not the same animal. Dried ginger will make your food taste like gingerbread shortcake or gingerbread men. It's not the same animal. So I got a nice knob there. I've ground off most of it. I'm gonna call that good. I've got a big old lob of elephant garlic. I love elephant garlic. You can get it at Walmart. It comes in cloves like this, and it's a little bit milder of a garlic. It's not as heavy, but it's super sweet. It's super tasty, and you buy 1 head, you use 1 clove in replace of about 4 cloves of normal garlic, and it's just basically a simpler process. And I like fresh garlic more than jarred garlic. There's nothing wrong with jarred garlic. If I was going to do this with jarred garlic, I'd probably add 2-3 tablespoons. I really love garlic, but garlic just adds a really deep, beautiful dimension to food that I don't think you can get by substitution. Yep. Scrape that. Make sure we get all our bits off. Scrape against the grain on your scraper. That way you're not putting wood chunks into your food. I can give that one last mix. Give it a smell. All right, so there's two things. The first thing you eat with is your eyes. The second thing you eat with is your sense of smell. So how food looks, how food smells. The last thing you eat with is how it tastes. You can get a general idea of how food is going to taste by how it smells. Not always, because some cabbage dishes smell like hot garbage, but they taste amazing. But this, I'm just gonna pretty much where I want it at. So I'm gonna sit this off to the side, and we'll get back to this at the end when we finish our pork. Right now we're gonna finish rendering our bacon down, and then we'll get to how we're making our side dish with the snap peas.
Do you thicken that with cornstarch flavor?
I will.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a slurry at the end. I don't see don't see the need of adding
No.
the slurry just now.
Okay.
That keeps the cornstarch from pooling at the bottom of the bowl. All right, so our bacon has been rendering for a few minutes. It's just starting to crisp. So right at the point it's just starting to crisp, I'm gonna add our other vegetables, our other aromatics and stuff. I cut up the white part, so basically up to where the stems break, on about just a small batch, a small handful of the green onion that you'd buy at the store. Something else I'm gonna wanna do here is I'm gonna want to bring that heat up so those start to cook, and then this doesn't take forever. So I'm gonna turn my heat up just a hair and start getting this happy, where I'm just gonna start caramelizing, softening up the green onion. I don't want it to be super bitey, super oniony. I wanna get that sweet, aromatic depth from that green onion. To the side here, and like I said, I like my food to have pop to it, a little bit of heat. I cut up one small Serrano chili. I don't recommend using jalapenos for stuff like this, because jalapeno is a super heavy flavor. I mean, you can taste, you know if you bite something that has jalapeno in it because it tastes like jalapeno. Serranos have the heat and not as much overt chili flavor to them. So to me, I'd rather cook with Serranos, because to me the jalapeno thing's a little bit overdone. It's overused to the point that it's becoming ridiculous. So I'm just gonna add my chili in there off the cutting board. A little bit, seeds and all.
Do you need your
I want the
peas
heat.
open yet?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and get the peas open. I brought 2 bags because of the amount of people we're trying to feed. You're looking at 5 to 7 adults. I don't need the full 2 bags, so I'm probably just gonna set these off a half off to the side. I'm gonna take 1 full bag. I don't know how big that bag is. 1 full bag of peas. I'm gonna toss it, the whole bag in. I want plastic in my food. Just kidding. I want them in there whole. I'm gonna start tossing them around. And then I'm gonna take about half of this bag. I'm gonna put that in there. That should be about the volume I want. The exact amount, if you're, like I said, if you're a super analytical, super detail-oriented person and you need the exact amount, I will count each individual pea later. But at this point, I'm just gonna throw it into a bowl and hope for the best. So, as this is going, getting hotter, the bacon's gonna get crispier, the onion's softening up, the chili's softening up, all those oils from the vegetables, the flavors from the pork, the flavors from the peas, all that is getting transferred into the oil on the pan, which is why we're doing it all in one pan, because when I finish my sauce in this later and we add the pork, all of those flavors are gonna meld into a beautiful symphony of culinary delight. Write that down.
For the record, some of you have watched Guy Rogers' videos and how he has all these, he really likes to be on camera, and then he does, he says all these words and things. This is his dad, so the apple didn't fall far from the tree.
All right, and what I don't want, I want these peas to have texture. I want them to be snappy. I want them to still be crisp. I do not want to overcook them and be soft. Essentially, all I'm doing with these, because you can eat snap peas raw. You don't even have to cook them. You can pull them right out of the bag and eat them, dip them in ranch dressing and call it a day. But I'm just looking for this to change color. When that color transfers over from the dull light green to that bright, vibrant green that we're looking for, we're starting to get a little bit of heat transfer. We're starting to get a little bit of cooking through what we're looking for. But like I said, I do not want to cook them all the way through. I do not want soft, mushy peas with my food, especially this type of thing, especially snow peas. I want them to be nice and crisp. Now, when I feel like, when I look at this, the color's right, the onion's soft, the bacon is crispy, caramelized, everything's softened up, everything's good, I'm gonna take soy sauce, an exact amount. I can't help you. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna eyeball it to deglaze this and just coat these beans with a little bit of soy. So I'm gonna do about 6, 7 big, yeah, maybe 2, 3 teaspoons, 4 teaspoons, just a big drizzle, because I don't want it to overpower it. I don't want it to be super sodium peas. I want these to be, just have that hint of saltiness, and that's just gonna accent the natural sweetness of the peas. I'm gonna take this off to the side, scrape the whole bowl out, and that will be our side later. Right when we start finishing up.
All right, so now you're going to get your
the pork
rice.
Should be about ready.
Okay,
The rice, the way I did the rice, this is instant rice. I put I go off the box. So the box says like 2 cups of water per, or however many cups of water per however many cups of rice. You bring the water to a boil, add the rice, turn the heat off, cap the rice, and then I just let it sit the rest of the time. You can also use microwave in the bag rice. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be, unless you're a rice Nazi and you want to do it super traditional, that's good for you. I don't care. I don't have that kind of time. But to me, I just use the instant rice, throw it in water, boil it. When I take the cap off, I'll fluff it a little bit and we're good to go.
Okay, we'll be right back at you.
All right, so I added the slurry. The slurry was a cornstarch mix of 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch to 2 tablespoons of water. Added that in, and all that is going to do is once that water starts evaporating, that cornstarch is going to give us that sticky, saucy, Asian-y thing that we're looking for, consistency. I knew the word. And basically, I just want this to come to a boil. I'm going to reduce to a simmer. That change in texture, that actually matters in cooking. When you bring something to a boil and then reduce the heat to the simmer, that changes the entire texture of how you're making. It's almost like chemistry that I wouldn't understand, but I do understand when it comes to food.
Well, you went to cooking school too.
I did.
So that's why people need to understand that. So
I went to culinary school because I love cooking, and I learned at culinary school that I love to cook, and I don't love to cook. I definitely don't want to do it as for a living because I couldn't handle it. It's too much work. Like I said, I want to bring that to a boil, and I'm going to reduce to a simmer. So it may take a couple minutes. And that's just going to reduce down until I get that, you want that syrupy, sticky consistency. And when we get down to that consistency, I'm going to cube up the pork loin, or the pork ribs, which came out of the oven. I'm going to cube that up into chunks, toss that in, coat it, and as soon as all the meat's coated and the sauce is reduced, we're ready to serve.
So when we come back, we will get to see the finished product.
All right, so the sauce is finishing the thickening process. And what I'm going to do here is I chopped up my pork rib. I'm going to put it in the sauce to finish up. Some of the bits got a little bit of pink in them, which can make people nervous with pork. It doesn't bother me too much anymore because we haven't had a massive outbreak of pork-borne food illness in this country in a long time. But, you know, you still want to play it safe, right? So 145 degrees internal temperature is safe for pork. If you want to go 160 or higher, you're not going to kill it. You're just going to get a little bit of a chewier texture. But anyway, I'm going to throw that in there, and essentially, I'm going to cook this down a little bit more. And when the sauce runs off the spoon, but still mostly sticks to it, we know we're done. We just want that nice, tacky, sticky sauce. So this is gonna have to cook down maybe another 4 or 5 minutes and we're ready to plate. All right, so our finished plated product, we got our pork sauce, white rice, snap peas with the bacon. I like to touch it off with a little bit of just the stalk of the green onion and some toasted sesame seeds. You can get the white sesame seeds from the spice aisle in Walmart. You just put them in a dry pan on high heat. When they start to change color, turn the pan off, keep shuffling them around so you don't burn them, and it's just gonna give it a nice, nutty, smoky overall flavor to your dish. So.
Okay, let me try it. It's good. It's all very good. But I'm with you, Ashley. His wife's here, my sister-in-law. The snap peas are phenomenal. So, but it's all wonderful, very good. So, we hope you try this, and you can let us know in the comments what you think. And you can try it sometime and let us know. We hope to see you out here at Turkey Knob Farm soon.